maybe a bit bigger.
It says, yeah, it says recording on my page as well.
Sweet. Okay, here we go. Michael Clark is America's top film critic. You can find his reviews at the Federalist, the Epoch Times, and NEWSMAX, as well as his weekly reviews on the Shannon BURKE Show, Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on 4Demand Radio. Download the app today. It is free. How was that?
That was good.
Did I screw something up, or was that all right?
Only the part where it says the world's best critic. There are a lot of people who would disagree with that, including me. Well, you can put a spin on it. A different way to do that would be, I'm one of maybe 10 critics in the entire country that doesn't lean to the left. I'm center right, not even far right. And some of the other critics that call themselves conservative are also very religious, and I'm not that way at all.
Yeah, so, kind of more in the middle of the road.
Yeah, right. And it's like with politics has shifted so far to the left, and I think it's the pendulum is swinging back. Where, I mean, 10 years ago, I would have been considered middle left.
Right.
So, you know, I'm decidedly middle right. And I don't know if you heard about it. There was some news that came up this week where Disney and Pixar have a new animated TV series called Win or Lose. And they ended up tweaking one of the characters that was originally transgender, and now there is no transgender. So then Disney is about as woke as they get. So
Disney, I don't know what could really kind of save Star Wars at this point. Kathleen Kennedy has fucked that franchise up so much to a point to where I'm like, you know what? I don't care what you do with it anymore at this point. I'm a fan of the original trilogy. I loved it. I'm not sure which one's my favorite between Empire Strikes Back and the original A New Hope. They're both very good. Return of the Jedi was good as well, but I think that was probably my least favorite of the trilogy. But with all these other spin-offs and shows and stuff like that, I really don't care for any of them. I liked Rogue One. I thought that was pretty good.
That was the one with Daisy Ridley, right? Was that
No, this was I don't even know who was like I don't remember like the main actors in it, but it was about them trying to get the secret plans of the Death Star out to the rebels so they can know how to blow it up and shit. And at the end, Darth Vader like goes nuts at the end, and you know they get away with the plans, but you're watching that scene at the very end, you're questioning like, how the hell are they going to get away from this guy?
Yeah, I like the first trilogy chronologically, or no, you know, when it came out in the 70s. And the only Star Wars movie I've seen more than once is Empire. I don't really go for that kind of stuff. I don't like Lord of the Rings. I respect it. I'm just not a fan. Same with Harry Potter. So I guess you could put in there that sci-fi or fantasy, it's not big on my list.
Well, do you have a favorite sci-fi movie? And I think I know what it is.
Sci-fi movie.
I remember you and I have talked on and off over the years, but this is actually really cool. This is the first time I've put a face to the voice here. So
yeah,
this is really cool. I remember one time you said that your favorite sci-fi movie was Looper.
Oh yeah, Looper. Yeah, that's in my top 10.
Yeah.
All time. Yeah. And I like that director, Rian Johnson, quite a bit. The one he did the Knives Out movies. I thought the first one was really good. The follow-up Knives Out was yeah, and the last one comes out, I think, in May.
Okay.
So yeah, Looper. I loved Looper, but that was the little more unconventional than the other stuff. I liked how it played with the time, going back in time. The only issue I had with it was, Bruce Willis and who's the guy who Levitt, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
Played the same guy, but one was left-handed and the other was right-handed.
I never picked up on that.
Yeah. So that's one thing that they could have fixed. I mean, they gave Gordon-Levitt colored contacts and gave him a bigger nose, so he looked more like Willis, and he even copied his smirk.
But, his mannerisms and stuff like that.
They didn't pick up on the fact that Bruce Willis is left-handed.
I never picked up on that either. That's funny.
Yeah.
I think there's so many sci-fi movies out there, but one that stands out to me that I really liked a lot, the cinematography, everything about it, was Dark City. That was a movie that came out in the mid-90s. The director's name escapes me, but he did The Crow, and then with Brandon Lee, and then he did this movie, Dark City, with Jennifer Connelly, Kiefer Sutherland. Is a trippy story.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't recall his name either. And I do remember it because Jennifer Connelly was in it.
Yeah, she played a lounge singer.
Yeah, and I've had a thing for her forever.
Oh my God. Yeah,
going all the way.
Age.
What was that one, her debut movie? Was it
Labyrinth?
No, before that, Once Upon a Time in America.
Oh, that's right. I remember her talking about that, and I saw some interview with her on YouTube for some magazine, and she said that was the first movie that she was in, and then she was in Labyrinth, and she talked about David Bowie and the experience working on that film and all of that. Yeah, she's been in some really amazing movies.
Yeah, I think she's a gorgeous woman. But yeah, I mean, when I was writing for a paper, I started doing this in '95 for a daily paper right outside of Atlanta.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, what got you into being a film critic and getting your articles out there and actually making this your career? Like, how did that start?
By being a pain in the ass. I've been into movies since I was 6 years old, and I still do. I see a minimum of 2 movies a week. I mean, now since I've been doing it professionally, it's more like five a week. Wow. This time of year especially. But I just started sending in reviews. I'd go see a movie on opening day, and I'd send it out to X number of local Atlanta publications, like a free weekly, a college weekly. And I ended up meeting a guy who did a live movie critic show on cable access. Why he had to do it live made no sense at all to me.
I've never heard of something like that, but okay.
Yeah, it was like Wayne's World with movies. And that's the level of production value too. Wow. I did it just so I could get up enough to make a clip reel to submit to this company that owned the Gwinnett Daily Post. They also owned a cable company in Gwinnett County, which is it's the largest county in Georgia and the most populous in the state as well. So I ended up getting this clip show together, and I sent it out to all the TV stations, and they responded back and said, listen, we want to do a Siskel and Ebert type show. We'll do a pilot. They threw a bunch of money at me, and we did it at Planet Hollywood. We shot a pilot there, and they made the big mistake of trying to sell apples to people who only buy oranges.
Okay.
And it ended up crapping out. But 2 weeks later, they said, listen, we want to start an entertainment section with you as the anchor. And that's how it got started. And
wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and it works out the way it works with PR people and movie studios. They want to get as many reviews from as many sources as possible. but they always treasure, and still to this day, they treasure an original review from a local newspaper. Whether it be, and hard copy is pretty much dead. So, but if it's an original review, meaning me or you write it, as opposed to them taking it off the wire, which happens more often than you would think. Now, the fact that I write for 3 different national or international, for that matter. I mean, anybody on the internet now is international, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. That's a big deal. They love that. But here the thing is, and I don't want to get too political on this, the studios, they don't really like working with conservatives. They don't, or perceived conservatives, even though the Epoch Times tells us we don't do politics in the movie section. They'll turn down movies like The Apprentice, that Donald Trump movie that came out back in the fall. Nope, we're not going to touch it. I said it's Trump neutral. It's not for or against. They said, doesn't matter. We don't want to do politics. They also don't want to do horror. It's just the way they are. I mean, it's owned by a Chinese company, and they have a certain set of.
The Epoch Times is?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's owned by a Chinese company. I'm
a little surprised that they don't want any like horror reviews, because that's like a genre of movie that's always going to make money, and people are always going to go out and see them, no matter how bad those movies are.
Yeah, I said that on the Burke Show multiple times. Is that if I was to make if I owned a studio, all I would make right now is Christian movies and horror movies. That's it.
Yeah, you're guaranteed to make money off them.
Yeah, and they're critic proof, so it doesn't really matter. Like Jason Blum, who, have you heard of him?
That name sounds familiar.
Okay, he founded Blumhouse, which is
Blumhouse. Yes.
Okay, and he said for the longest time, I will never spend more than $5 million on a movie. And he did this for, God, close to 15 years. And that changed when Jordan Peele made Get Out. He still only cost $5 million, but it ended up making like $290 million. And that's just domestically before home video. So with his next movie, he gave him, I think 20 million, which is still peanuts compared to what people are spending right now. So
yeah, it's nuts. But it also goes to show that you don't need a big budget to make a good movie.
Oh yeah. My favorite movie of the year is called Dumara, D-U-M-A-R-A, Dumara, which is this really low budget. It costs like $80,000 to make. And I'm sure it's made more than that already, but you don't have to have a whole lot of bells and whistles. And as people age, you're getting past the target demographic of most studios, which is 18 to 35. And they have to start making movies for either a younger crowd than that or an older crowd. And the problem is with a younger crowd, they don't have any money. Older people have money.
Right.
So, and they haven't learned their lesson yet. I mean, Disney, I don't want to keep harping on Disney, but every movie they made this year lost money. And there wasn't an original thought. They were either remakes or sequels or prequels. Inside Out 2, it made a lot of money, but there was no original thought in it. And I'm working on an essay that's coming out in a couple months for the Epoch Times. We're talking about how the big 6 theaters, it used to be big 6, Paramount, Universal, Columbia, Fox, at Disney. I'm missing one there. Anyway, since Fox got purchased by Disney, it's 5. 10 years ago, every Best Picture nominee was one of the big 5.
Right.
Every one. 5 years ago, it was 6. I think this year, and the Oscar nominations are announced on the 17th of January, I don't think they'll have more than 2 or 3.
Whoa.
They're losing to companies such as Netflix,
Yeah.
A24, Neon, Briarcliff Entertainment, all of these really bold upstarts that are pretty much doing what Miramax did in the late early and early 90s.
In these smaller studios, I don't think my brother, he's a set dresser out in Hollywood, and he hasn't really worked since COVID.
Yep.
You know, the COVID shut everything down, and then you had the strikes, and I think a lot of these smaller studios aren't in California anymore. Because I talked to him the other day, and he said the big studios in Hollywood aren't hiring locals anymore. A lot of these productions are out of state, like in Atlanta and places like that. And
Georgia, Texas, Louisiana, and North Carolina are the top 5 production companies. And even if you have a movie that's being filmed in Georgia, there was something that came out a couple years ago. I don't recall. I mean, when I was writing for the daily paper, I was seeing 150 movies a year. Okay. And writing about most of them. And now COVID was actually the best thing to ever happen to me. Not initially. I mean, I lost my shirt. I had to sell my house. I only recovered recently. But what happened was I ended up going to these bigger companies, the Epoch Times, NEWSMAX, and I could pick and choose what I want to watch. Now, there's another guy there who's senior to me. He gets first dibs, but
okay.
he likes writing about Star Wars and sci-fi and what have you.
Oh, so that's perfect for you then.
Yeah, it's perfect for me. So I end up doing really low budget, independent stuff, documentaries, documentary series. I got 2 op-ed pieces a month where it's just essays. So it's real different than what I used to do.
It changed everything.
It changed everything
Yeah.
for the better. I mean, there's a guy in this film group that I founded in 2017, co-founded, who is my age, who goes and sees every movie, every one. And he does a review for every one. And
wow.
I mean, they're not long and they're not very well written. But he has it up every Friday. Here's the 9 movies. And,
holy shit.
And I'll see the same amount. You know, you've been listening to me for a long time.
Yeah.
And if there's something I haven't seen that's coming out, I'll be real clear. I have not seen this. So I still see the same amount of movies, but I just don't write about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I'm in a great place. I'm making more money now than I ever did writing for the daily paper.
That's awesome. Good
yeah, it is. And you get and again, with COVID, that they stopped doing brick and mortar screenings. It'd be 3 days a week. I'd go to Atlanta at night to watch something with a you know, a guest audience who aren't like critics. They talk, they eat, they yammer all the time, and it's distracting.
Yeah.
And the studios said, well, we don't care. We want them to see it. And their logic, and it makes sense, is if the audience who's easy to please or easier to please laughs or gets scared or applauds, that is going to have an effect on the press. Like, well, I guess it must be good because they laughed at it. You know?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Or
the audience reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, audience reaction. And it does work for some people. You know, it does rub off on some people, but not me. I mean, I used to get a lot of garbage from some of my contemporaries that, wow, you're really out of touch, dude. You know, you don't like this 2.5-hour depressing movie about, you know, anal rape. No, I didn't. Sorry. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And it's called The Brutalist. I reviewed it on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guarantee it's going to get nominated for Best Picture. It's probably going to win Best Actor for Adrian Brody, and a slew of other awards. Honora, have you heard of Honora yet?
Just briefly, that you brought up on the Burke show.
Right. This is about a stripper in New York. She's played by Mikey Madison, there's no reason for you to really know who that is, but she was in the Tarantino movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah. Okay.
And she was one of the 3 Manson family people to walk in on Brad Pitt, and she was the pale one that Leonardo DiCaprio torched with a blowtorch in the pool. That was her big claim to fame. But she gets hired by a Russian oligarch's kid who's filthy rich and incredibly stupid for sex, and he convinces her to get married. And she's like, well, for the right amount of money and a big ring, yeah, sure. And as soon as his parents find out about it, they try to bust it up. Now, that's the plot of the movie.
Okay.
And it's 2.5 hours of screaming and, club music and more screaming. And
I think you didn't like it.
No, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And those are the 1 and 2 movies right now.
Have you ever been given like a description for a movie where you thought, holy shit, that sounds awful, but it turned out to be a good movie? I remember my dad calling me one day and he said, there's a movie that you need to see. And I said, okay. And he said, it's called The Professional. I said, well, okay, well, what's it about? And here's what he said. He said, it's about an Italian hitman that murders people that adopts a little girl. I said, that sounds awful. But I popped it on, and it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. I love that movie. And it was, oh God, what's her name? It was her first.
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman's first movie.
And Jean Reno, and he wasn't Italian, he was French. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gary Oldman was a loose cannon, sick puppy in that movie.
Man, that guy's such a great actor.
I'm trying to think of something that. Okay, Sling Blade.
Yeah, okay.
Pitch for that. Okay, this mentally challenged man is released from a psychiatric hospital years after murdering his mother's lover, and then gets into a kind of friendship relationship with a young boy. I'm like, oh wow, was he a child molester or something? And then it ended up being my favorite movie of the year, and it's still in my top 10. It was top 10 all the way up until Looper, and then Looper got displaced by oh God, what was it? I think Shawshank. I saw Shawshank, and that was always hovering at 5 and 6, and I watched it a couple more times. And yeah, that's my favorite movie of all time.
That's one of those movies. Shawshank is one of those movies, like the more you watch it, the more you like it. It grows on you more. Yeah,
and there's another one. Guy gets unfairly convicted for murder. He goes to a prison where he gets anal raped a bunch of times, but he gets into a very tight friendship with another inmate. Prison movies generally don't fly real well, especially with female audiences. And that movie in particular has a very big following. It's number 1 on IMDb.
Is it really?
Wow. Yeah. And it's been that way for, 15 years.
A lot of people don't, when they think of Stephen King, they think of like The Shining and Christine and stuff like that. When Shawshank came out, I didn't know that Stephen King wrote that. And same thing with the Green Mile.
Yeah, well, The Green Mile was a standalone book, but the novella is called Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. And it's one of 4 novellas that's in a book that also had A Warm Body or something like that, which is what Stand By Me was based on.
Yeah, that's another one. That was a great movie too.
And Apt Pupil which was another movie with Ian McKellen. It was directed by Bryan Singer. So, the fourth novella, I don't think was made into anything, but that's pretty weird that 3 of the 4 were made into films, and none of them are really science fiction.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of Stephen King personally, and I don't like horror as a rule. I got a buddy who's way too into it. But I tip my hat to the man. He's the most successful novelist of all time. But then again, McDonald's has sold more hamburgers than anybody ever. So
yeah, that's true. All right, so Christmas is around the corner. Are you ready for Christmas this year?
Yeah, I have to be. It's
a couple days away here.
Yeah, well, I had the misfortune of being born on December 23rd, which is tomorrow.
Oh man! Well, happy birthday!
Thanks. And I got kind of shortchanged every year as a kid. Here's your birthday gift and your Christmas gift.
It was expensive, so it's actually both. Just look at it as both.
Yeah, and I ended up interviewing this actress last week. Her name is Jill Wagner. You know who she is?
Is she related to Robert Wagner?
No. A lot of people thought she was the daughter of Lindsay Wagner, but she's not. And she does a lot of Christmas movies. She got one that's starting actually tomorrow. But she's also on this Taylor Sheridan series called Lioness. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Lioness. This guy, he's the hardest working man I've ever heard of. I watched all of the second season of Lioness. It's got Morgan Freeman, Nicole Kidman, Zoe Saldana, and this girl, Jill Wagner, who is completely archetypal away from what she usually does. She's done 20 Hallmark movies. Okay. That's what she's primarily known for. And then she comes on to this Lioness, which is this game of international spies and mercenaries. And she's ripped. She's got a real funky hairdo.
And this is a series?
It's a series on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
And it's another Taylor Sheridan show. I started watching, at the urging of one of the listeners on the Burke show, I started watching Landman this morning, it stars Billy Thornton, Demi Moore, and John Hamm. And it's set in Texas, and Thornton plays this oil guy who puts out a lot of fires, literally and figuratively, and swears like a soldier. It's like his character from Bad Santa in Texas, And I mean, I could get away with language on your little show here, but I don't want to. It's just that filthy. But it's very well done, and that's on Paramount Plus as well. So that's where a lot of the high-end stuff, and this started a quarter century ago with The Sopranos. That's where all the quality writing has kind of gravitated to.
Yeah.
You had that. You had, what was the one about the bad cop? Oh, God. The Shield. Yeah, The Shield.
The Shield. Yeah.
Yeah. All of these premium cable shows, HBO in particular, hour-long scripted stuff. It was like they were like mini movies, and they had big budgets for TV.
Mm-hmm.
And they've gotten all of these. I mean, 10 years ago, could you have gotten Morgan Freeman and Nicole Kidman to be in TV?
Those are like actors where you're like, okay, those are exclusively film actors, and if they're doing a TV series, it's because maybe they need money all of a sudden or something like that. Like, why are they doing this? There's a reason for it.
Well, she did another Netflix series called Perfect Couple, which came out in the summer, which was pretty decent. It wasn't groundbreaking, but it was fun. And now she's doing this Lioness. I'm not sure she did White Lotus, if she was in that or not, but she's been in about 5 different TV series in the last 5 years.
Holy
As
shit!
well
It's
as-
like Liam Neeson. Like there's a movie every year with him in it.
Sometimes two.
Yeah.
And she's getting my vote this year for Best Actress. I talked about this on the show on Friday for Baby Girl, which is like a cross between 9.5 Weeks and 50 Shades of Grey. And she starts having sex with one of her underlings who's half her age. And she's already married to Antonio Banderas, who adores her, but can't give her an orgasm. So she's constantly masturbating. And you're like, okay.
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. And I'm talking about, you know, you see her do it. It's not like it's under the covers and all you hear is moaning or whatever. It's you know, the full Monty.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I'm like, why is she doing this movie? And I think she's doing it just because she wants to say, look at me, I'm in my 50s and I look hot. And she does.
Yeah, she's always been a looker. Her, Sandra Bullock, Jennifer Connelly. The list goes on and on. What was the name? Oh my God, yeah, you did this review, and it's like, again, it's one of those things that, you know, like The Professional, like my dad describing this amazing movie to me that just sounds horrible. What was the name of that movie where the Vietnam veteran guy with no legs that lives in a van that drives cross country to see this daughter that he had after banging a hooker? Does that ring a bell to you?
No.
You said it's a really good movie. And
when did it come out?
Oh God, you did this review like maybe a month ago.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Daruma.
Daruma. Okay, that's it.
That's the one. Yeah, that's. Yeah, he didn't get his legs blown off, but he's in a wheelchair. Okay. Yeah. And
but doesn't he have a friend of his that goes with him? That's also.
Yeah, well, it's his neighbor, and they don't get along at the beginning. And he's a double amputee. He has
that's what I was thinking. All right.
Yeah, he has no arms. Yeah, that's my favorite movie of the year. It was like the week before I had to make my decision on what was going to be my top 10 list, and that was it. That's the one that costs like $80,000.
And where can people find that one?
Yeah, I knew you'd have to ask me that. The best way to find out where a movie is playing, you know, what platform, there's two websites that you can go to.
Okay.
Wheretowatch.com.
Okay.
And Fandango.com. Now, Fandango is also a ticket service for theaters. But they also will offer first run movies like 2 or 3 weeks after they've opened for $10 at home on demand.
Fandango.com will offer that.
Yeah, Fandango.
Regardless of the studio that puts it
well,
out?
No, it depends on what the studio dictates. But I'm trying to think of something recently that was out for like 2 weeks. And it wasn't a big budget. I mean, that's not going to happen with Star Wars or John Wick or some franchise tentpole movie, but medium level studio stuff, they'll have it there. But now they will also tell you, like on Rotten Tomatoes, if you put Demora in, it'll say where to watch, and I think it's like Apple and Amazon.
Okay.
Where you pay what, $3.99, $4.99 for it. Sometimes they're free. Most of the time you have to pay something, even if you have a Prime membership.
Yeah, it's nice to have that convenience where you don't have to leave the house if you don't want to and deal with people, you know, in a crowded theater and watch a movie. But there's some movies that I refuse to watch at home because they're so much better on a big screen with the sound and everything. Case in point is Top Gun Maverick. That movie was so damn good in the theater. I haven't watched it since. If they re-released it today in the theater, I go and watch it. I don't want to watch that kind of movie at home.
Well, that movie single-handedly saved the brick and mortar movie theaters.
Oh, absolutely.
And I got to give him a lot of credit because Paramount, that movie was supposed to come out in 20 or 21. And he ended up, they said, we want to put it on, cable. He said, nope. We're going to sit on it because the theaters are going to have to come back eventually.
Yeah.
And that's how much power he has. That
was the right call.
That was the right call, but it was a big gamble. I mean, the first Top Gun, it made money, but not, that kind of money.
Right.
Not FU money. And I didn't think it was that good. It was okay.
It was a good popcorn movie in the theater,
Yeah, it made me. I got motion sickness watching it. I mean, I didn't hurl or anything, but I had to stop looking at the screen. I was dating a girl who was really into Tom Cruise. And it was kind of like an aphrodisiac for me watching the movie. And even she was like, let's get out of here.
Wow, you guys walked out of Top Gun?
Yeah, we walked out.
Holy shit. Wow.
We walked out. I'm kidding.
Well, when you saw Maverick in the theater, did those same feelings?
Oh, no.
I
loved it. I thought it was wonderful.
It was awesome.
But it wasn't the same kind of movie. He was older and wiser, and Jennifer Connelly was in it, which always helps.
Yeah.
And they got the two cocky upstart guys. And I thought it was really smart that they didn't identify the enemy.
Yeah, some people didn't like that. Some people thought, well, why wasn't the enemy like clearly identified as coming from whatever country? And
does it matter?
To me, no.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's the corporate.
They're bad guys. Just take it for what that is. They're just bad. They're just
and
bad
it could be only one of two or three people or countries rather. You got Russia, you got China, maybe Korea,
North Korea.
Maybe North Korea, but it really didn't matter. So
I don't think it affected the story that much, if at all. I mean, for me anyway, it didn't.
Yeah, it didn't for me either. I just hope they don't make another one, but I think they are. And Cruise,
I think it's unnecessary.
Well, most sequels are unnecessary. 99.5% of them. I can think of like maybe 5 or 6.
Fast and Furious 3 through 10 or whatever. Like those.
I didn't like the first one.
I didn't like any of them.
No,
and I like action movies, but I just thought those were just.
Well, you got to have a plot with them, and the first movie was street racing, and now they're flying cars in space and jumping.
I know.
Going from building to building.
Yeah, it's just.
It doesn't work. I mean, Godfather 2. Terminator 2, Aliens.
Yeah.
If I had to break my head, I could probably come up with a couple more, but those are the only really worthy.
And Empire Strikes Back. That's a good.
That sequel. I don't count that. You know why? Like that was a planned trilogy.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings, planned trilogy. Harry Potter.
Same thing.
8 planned movies.
That makes sense.
So that wasn't Godfather was like a one and done, and that it got such a great reception that Paramount said you got to do another one right away.
Right.
And Coppola was already in production with The Conversation. He said, "Well, after I finish this," and they go, "Well, you better finish it soon." And he could, because that was kind of a low budget, movie, not a lot of effects, not a lot of locations.
They filmed The Godfather too. I live not too far from the house up here at the lake.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And on the opposite side is where they filmed Bonanza.
Oh, wow.
And you know what? They filmed Maverick up here. All those snowy winter scenes in the woods and shit like that, that was all filmed up here in Lake Tahoe. And they shut down the little airport and stuff in South Lake. And there are days where I see the jets just hauling ass all over the place around the lake and everything and stuff. And I'm thinking, man, this movie, I got a feeling this is going to be good when it comes out. And it's like, and you're right. Yeah, they did. They sat on it for years before they finally released it.
Well, it was
But,
that's kind of the misunderstanding or misnomer, is that one came out in 72 and two came out in 74. With the conversation in between both of them.
Right. Okay.
And that was and we could talk about this another time because I could spend an hour talking on just this subject alone, is the American New Wave, which was between like 1967 and 1980. The unofficial start was Bonnie and Clyde with Warren Beatty, and the unofficial end was Reds with Warren Beatty. And those movies, that's when the Hollywood studio system kind of crashed and burned. The last big hit they had was Sound of Music, which is the first movie I ever saw in a theater. And
oh, wow.
And then, they have all of these upstart people like Coppola and Scorsese, Spielberg, George Lucas, Peter Bogdanovich, Dennis Hopper, and they're all cranking out these really edgy, some say militant movies that the studios previously would never touch. Robert Altman, you could throw him in there as well. Did you know the first movie to ever include the word fuck is MASH?
No shit. MASH the movie.
MASH the movie
first
from
movie that had the word fuck in it.
Yep. And
I did not know that.
Yep. They didn't even use that word in The Godfather. Never once did that word show up in the first two. And the last one, which was, it was okay. And I gotta get going here in a minute, but
okay.
One of the things that isn't well known about Godfather 3 is that his daughter was not the top choice or even the third choice for that role of Mary Corleone.
Really?
They were all ready to go. He wanted Julia Roberts, who at time would have been a perfect choice, perfect
Holy
age.
Shit. Wow.
And she says, no, I'm going to do this movie called Pretty Woman. So then he went to his next choice, who was Winona Ryder. And she was cast. She did makeup. She did hair, wardrobe. They were 3 days into shooting. And she had a nervous breakdown.
What?
She had done like 3 back-to-back movies, and this was the 4th one. This is when she was as hot as any actress could have been at the time, from like the 88 through, well, more like 86 through 89. And 89 is when they started filming Godfather 3. And so Coppola didn't have many options. And his daughter, she's not really much of a looker. I don't mean to be cruel that way, but when compared to Winona Ryder and Julia Roberts, she's not that much of a looker. Right. And she's not an actress. She's a great director. She's a very good director, but she's not much of an actress, and she kind of ruined that movie.
Oh, shit.
Have you seen it before?
Yeah. She didn't really stand out as somebody who was like stellar in it. That's
no, and Andy Garcia, Andy Garcia, bless his soul. I mean, he ended up getting an Oscar nomination. From that movie, and he had to act opposite her. She was in practically every scene with him, and I could, you got to look at him and you go, how is this guy doing this with nothing to work with? So. But good luck to you on your new venture, man.
Thank you very much.
I would love to come back and again.
That'd be awesome.
Talk about.
We could go on and on.
Yeah, but keep listening.
All right.
And yeah, everybody, epochtimes.com, thefederalist.com, newsmax.com. Michael Clark is the name. If you go there and put in Movie Man Mike, you won't find anything. But that's the name that I kind of earned organically on the Shannon Burke show. Get the app. It's well, you said 3
It's
o'clock.
great.
Yeah, 3 o'clock Pacific,
time.
4 Eastern, 3 Central. It's all over the place, but my segment appears at 6 o'clock Eastern time every Friday, except for the next 2 weeks when the show isn't going to be on the air.
Christmas break. So, in closing here, what is your favorite Christmas movie?
Ooh, Bad Santa.
I agree with you on that. That's probably my favorite too.
And Badder Santa, which is the same movie with a lot more dirty stuff in it. It's all the stuff that they thought was too much, even for an R-rated movie.
That's awesome.
And it's a not unrated. So look for that wherever you get fine movies and entertainment. Badder Santa, not just Bad Santa.
All right, and in closing here, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
I interviewed Robert Davi, who is in that movie. Not a lot, just towards the end. He's one of the detectives that's gathered outside the building, and they're trying to figure out what to do. And he made a movie about Hunter Biden called My Son Hunter, which came out, not long after the Biden presidency had started, 22. So it was like halfway through. Okay. And I interviewed him, and he lives in Florida. And I don't want to say we're friends, but I talk to him on a semi-regular basis.
You're friendly.
Yeah, we're friendly, and we text all the time. And one of my questions when I interviewed him, it was the last question, because I always like to end an interview on something light. I don't want to, it's heavy, and then something light. And I said, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And he said, yes, absolutely. It's a Christmas movie. My children and I, he has like 7 kids. We watch it every year. And I saw a meme that he posted last week, and he's wearing a Santa suit. He's got a placard holding above his head, and it says, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. And I had him, one of my neighbors is a big Die Hard fan. Huge. And when I met him, I said, can you sign this for? So I bought a Blu-ray for Die Hard, and he, to so-and-so, Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and he, Robert Davi. So
awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, because it takes place on Christmas Eve, does that make it a Christmas movie?
I believe that there's one thing that stands out that makes it a Christmas movie to me, and that's the soundtrack. There's like 2 or 3 tracks that are Christmas songs on it. And if it's not a Christmas movie, why would it have Christmas songs on it?
I never even noticed that. And this new movie that's out on Netflix called Carry On.
That's another one I want to watch that you talked about.
That's the best Die Hard movie since Die Hard. It's got this unwitting guy who's in the wrong place at the wrong time. And if he does something wrong, his girlfriend gets killed. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
And he's dealing with a terrorist who's threatening to blow this up. Sound familiar? And it's in Los Angeles, and it's on Christmas Eve. So
and it's on Netflix, right? I think
it's on Netflix.
Yeah, and we're gonna watch that.
Jason Bateman is the villain.
He's great.
Yeah, and he's kind of a menacing guy when he wants to be.
Yeah, he could pull that off.
And there was a movie he did, maybe 5 or 6 years ago called The Gift.
Yep.
Where he was being stalked. So did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's being stalked, but you don't know why. And the tables, I don't want to give it away for somebody who might want to watch it,
It's a good twist.
It's got a great twist, and he ends up being the asshole of the story. And he plays mean very well. But you know, and I saw a couple other reviews on Carry On, and they're like, well, you know, it's good, but it's too much like Die Hard. And I'm like, well, it's like saying, yeah, it was good, but it was too much like The Sopranos. Like, so what? You know, if you're gonna rip something off,
that alone doesn't make it a bad movie.
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it a bad movie, and it's got a good critic score, which is most action movies don't get good critical scores. But that's a real nugget that I wasn't expecting. That's always good to have when you're not expecting something to be good, instead of the other way around. When this thing better be good, you know, you've been hyping this shit for a year, and then you end up like, nah, no, didn't work. Sorry.
Yeah, some of them flop like that. So
yeah.
All right, Mike, dude, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate you. And yeah, this was awesome. This was a lot of fun. I'd like to do it again.
Yeah, you just let me know, buddy.
Sounds good. All right, brother. Happy birthday and Merry Christmas.
Thanks.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.